Here's an interesting one-sided promotional record from about 1947, as I could best determine, produced by the Southern Conference for Human Welfare, which was located at the time in New Orleans, Louisiana. It's called The Freedom Train, a poem by Langston Hughes and narrated by the great actor and singer Paul Robeson. And also says recorded by permission of Our World magazine. I've often wondered over the years if this was the first record promoting the modern civil rights movement. And this is done in 1947. Much earlier than Martin Luther King's famous I Have a Dream speech, which came much later on. But some of the themes are very similar. So if anybody can give me some information on this record, I would be appreciative.
Poem by Langston Hughes, Checking on the Freedom Train. I read in the papers about the Freedom Train. I heard on the radio about the Freedom Train. I've seen folks talking about the Freedom Train. Lord, I've been waiting for that Freedom Train. Washington, Richmond, Durham, Chattanooga, Atlanta, way across Georgia. Lord, Lord, Lord. Lord, way down in Dixie, the only trains I see got Jim Crow coaches set aside for me. I hope there's no Jim Crow on the Freedom Train, no backdoor entrance to the Freedom Train, no signs for colored on the Freedom Train, no white folks only on the Freedom Train. I'm gonna check up. I'm gonna check up on this Freedom Train. Who's the engineer on the Freedom Train? Can a cold black man drive the Freedom Train? Or am I still a porter on the Freedom Train? Is there ballot boxes on the Freedom Train? The colored folks vote on the Freedom Train? When it stops in Mississippi, will it be made plain that everybody's got a right to board the Freedom Train? I'm gonna check up. I'm gonna check up on this Freedom Train. The Birmingham station's marked colored and white. White folks left, the colored right. They even got a segregated lane. Is that the way to get aboard the Freedom Train? I'm gonna check up. I'm gonna check up on this Freedom Train. If my children ask, Daddy, please explain, why a Jim Crow station for the Freedom Train? What shall I tell my children? You tell me. 'Cause freedom ain't freedom when a man ain't free. My brother named Jimmy died at Anzio. He died for real, and it wasn't no show. Is this here freedom on the Freedom Train really freedom or a show again? Now let the Freedom Train come zooming down the track, gleaming in the sunlight for white and black, not stopping at no stations marked colored nor white, just stopping in the fields in the broad daylight, stopping in the country in the wide open air, where there never was a Jim Crow sign nowhere, and no lily white committees, politicians of note, nor poll tax mayors for which colored can't vote. And there won't be no kind of color line. The Freedom Train will be yours and mine. Then maybe from their graves in Anzio, black men and white will say, we want it so. Black men and white will say, ain't it fine? At home, they got a Freedom Train, a Freedom Train that's yours and mine.
There you have it, from about 1947, from a poem by Langston Hughes, narrated by Paul Robeson. That was The Freedom Train.